Welcome everybody to today's Polarion Siemens Tips and Tricks session. Today's presenters are Stuart and Mike from Electrosource. During the session, you're more than welcome to post questions in the QA chat bar in the system, in a WebEx system. However, we'll address all the questions at the end of the presentation. I'm also recording this. All the recordings can be found on YouTube, as well as we can send them directly via HighSpot. Stuart and Mike, over to you, please.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody for joining. I'm Mike Nicoluk with Electrosource, and I've got Stuart Turner with me, who's also with Electrosource. And I'm going to give you just a short introduction to all the demonstrations we're going to be doing today. This is really all about giving you tips and tricks on what is possible with Polarion. So Electrosource is a Siemens Polarion VAR and software development partner for Polarion. We also have unique partnerships with ARM, Parasoft, and Synopsys Signal Integrity Group. And our approach is, from a software development point of view, we help customers with our shift left approach with ARM fast models, secure with Synopsys, trace with Polarion, and test with Parasoft. So we do have a complete story around various value-added capabilities that we bring into the mix. Virtual Fidelity is an Electrosource employee-owned corporation, and we develop software there. In addition, Virtual Fidelity is also a Siemens Mendix ISV, or independent software vendor. So just to get into it, what you're going to see today, and these all relate to Polarion, is a Slack chatbot with Polarion, email round trip with Polarion, email work item creation from Polarion. We're going to show you a live doc in Siemens Mendix low-code environment built into that. We'll also show you an integration with ARM fast models for DevOps integration. And in addition to that, finally, we'll show software and system test automation. So those are the demos. These capabilities were developed for our intelligent timesheet and XDLM offerings. And just briefly, XDLM is a platform. It's cross-development lifecycle. So Polarion covers the software. We've added some BOM capabilities and a few other things to it. And our intelligent timesheets, we're also integrating it with security and various other value-added capabilities. So that's enough on us. And now we'll move into what we're going to be demonstrating. So the first item is our Slack chatbot. And that's a chatbot Polarion workflow we'll show you. This gets pushed to Slack users and is scheduled. We did this because this is where people work, and we need to do something very quick and make it easy for people to put in and communicate with Polarion in an environment that they're used to, which is Slack. It's two-way communication. It's automated. It's non-disruptive to the general workflow that people are doing. It has multiple use cases. We've used it for one, and the one we're going to show you today is our intelligent timesheet, and that's what Stuart's going to demo right now. So take it away, Stuart.
Hi, I'm Stuart Turner, application engineer with Electrosource. And to add a little more color to what Mike has said, you're probably all aware there's been a push for things like DevOps and continuous integration. And basically, you know, how does a company tie all the various tools and all the various departments together so that they can communicate and interact with each other, and also be able to extract and display specific pieces of information from those tools dependent upon the needs of the person who's viewing the data. And so we found, beyond the typical ALM solution, Polarion is an excellent central point for tying and various tools together and automating different types of activities and things like that. Polarion's SOAP-based web services interface, its support for Java, JavaScript, the built-in database and built-in scheduler allows it to easily integrate, control, and automate many types of interactions. And we've been working with companies as well as our own, developing features and add-on capabilities to help enable this. So as Mike said, the first thing we're going to demonstrate is something we've done with Slack. And for several of these demos, I'm going to be using a project called Incentive Demo. I just created inside of Polarion. I'm a big fan of Back to the Future movies, so I created a project to, design a proof of concept of Doc Brown's time machine. And I've got several tasks in here. The one I'm currently working on is this ID 462 design proof of concept of Doc Brown's time machine. So as an engineer, I've worked a long time. The one thing I always hated to do was fill out a timesheet. I always waited to the end of the quarter. So using Slack, we've created an easy way to enter time, so it's not a big hassle, and we're not waiting till the end of the quarter to do that. And this is done by integrating Polarion in with Slack. So, this use case, in this use case, we have a reminder scheduled that gets sent out to the engineer via Slack in their channel that reminds them, hey, it's time to update your time. So the user in Slack goes to the chat bot, as Mike said, and we just type in update. I want to update my time, and the chat bot, it's interactive, and it's going to say, do you want to update your work? Yes. And so Slack now communicates with Polarion for me. It gets my any of my tasks or work items that I'm currently working on, and will display those in a list. I'm only got that one ID 462 I'm working on, so we'll select that from the pull down list. That'll be the only one that's shown. And it's going to ask me how much time have I spent on it, and I'll go ahead and enter 1 hour and submit that. Now, another thing we've implemented for specific applications is the ability to ask the user questions to gather relevant data that somebody else might want to know or have access to. We've done this for tax credits. So ask questions to gather relevant data to see if the work is actually could be tax deductible or things like that. And this is totally user configurable. We have a questions file, and you put in the questions that you want to ask the end user, and those are dynamically created in the chat bot and asked. So did you test, analyze, debug anything today? I'll go yes. Investigated. E equals MC squared. So I'll submit that and just answer no to the next few questions. And then once it goes through the questions, it'll ask me if I have any attachments that I want to add on. And once it's done, I'll submit. And now it tells me I'm finished submitting. So if we go back to the project, and we'll look at my work item, and we can see that Slack's communicated with Polarion, and it's created a new work record today, 1 hour. And here's the one question I did answer. Here's my answer right here: investigated E equals MC squared. So that's one use case for utilizing Slack and Polarion's capabilities of interacting with various tools.
Thanks, Stuart. The next demonstration we're going to provide is basically on how to do more with email. So what we're going to show you is Polarion round trip email. The intent on that is to save time. It's where people work in their email if they're not working in Slack, or they could be working in both, and we can push this to both Slack and email. This enables potential for new types of Polarion workflows. It can enable an all email sign-off for casual users that do need to sign off on occasion. There are many use cases that people can do, and this is also part of our intelligent timesheet. And then the second demo in this section is creating a work item from an email, and that in Polarion. And that, again, will save time. It's where people work. It's easy to create an email. You found something, you thought about something, and now I can actually just send it in, create the work item. It's now in the system, and we can come back and modify and change and update it as required. But it is captured. And that enables another new workflow for Polarion. We needed it for our particular application. It captures and enables you to capture innovation and ideas right away, right at the source, in an environment where it could be a few business people with a few engineers speaking, and now it can be pushed right into Polarion, and you have that full document now in Polarion for trace for your compliance later on. And again, that we did for our intelligent timesheet. So Stuart's now going to show you those two demonstrations.
So getting back to our same, I'm going to utilize the same project and the same work item that I am working on. And for email, we created some applications both for sending out emails utilizing dynamic email templates. So we're able to create an email on the fly, gather information, it might be reports or whatever, and send those to end users. As well as process different types of incoming emails. So it enhances the capabilities that are built into Polarion. These applications, if you don't know, Polarion has a cron type of scheduler built into it. So it's easy to schedule jobs, launch applications, and things like that. And let me make sure I'm logged in here. So there's a few, if you can see my screen at the bottom, this is the monitor application within Polarion, and it shows you what jobs are running and what are scheduled. And it also allows you to manually execute. So I've got one, send engineer timesheet, which much like Slack is going to send out it's going to go through the database in Polarion for the projects and pull out any active work items that I am working on. And it will create an email. It goes through that questions list as before. And if I come to my email inbox, I can see there's a new email there. And let me go ahead and reply to that so we can see the format. Here's the work item ID. It's telling me what project is there, the issue type, it's in progress, investigate the time machine, and I can enter in the time I spent. I'll say I spent 2 hours. Did I test, analyze anything? No. Did I create any algorithms or proof of concepts? I'll answer yes, and I'll say created stress tests. And that's about all I did. And also I have some stress test results. I want to attach those. So I'm going to go ahead and dig those up from my PC. and go ahead and insert that and send it. So now again, we're going to come to this application is responsible for processing incoming emails. So it communicates with the inbox, pulls down the email timesheet in this case, and parses it, takes all of the results and puts it in Polarion, creates another work record. And again, all of this stuff is automated and scheduled. So it will run on its own. You don't have to interact with it at all. And that way, you know, it's a scheduled activity. An engineer for the timesheet, for example, gets an email. It could be daily or weekly or whatever period you want to set up. And it will complete in a second here. So it's completed, and we'll go back to the work item 462 and go down here, and we can see now there's another work record here with 2 hours, and there's the question and the answer. And there's also some additional information here, the shreddable score. This is running the answer to the question through an AI engine that we have integrated in and analyzing the answer to see the probability that this activity is tax deductible. So this is part of a shred type tax deduction product that we've made. And if we scroll down, we can see here is the attachment right here. So that's been attached to the work item. And also we have the capability of creating a work item. So I'm going to send this to the inbox, and I'm going to tell it the project that sent it, and let me get the spelling right. I'm going to tell it the project I want to create a task for, tell it it's a project, and then I'm going to give it a title, exceed speed of light will be my task that I'm going to attempt, and try to exceed speed of light. This is the description. I'll send that, and so that goes to the inbox. We go back to Polarion and the scheduler, and again, yeah, this would all be automated. And I'm going to execute this again. So once again, this will get the email, analyze it as to what type of email is the subject line, et cetera, parse it and take the appropriate action. And we utilize, again, as means of communication, the Polarion web services, and integrate in with that. So if we go back and let's refresh this, and we'll see now there's a new work item task that's been created, exceed speed of light. It's been assigned to me, and here is the description. So this application allows you to do various types of activities and interactions with Polarion via email. And it's only limited to your imagination as to what you could accomplish with this. So back to Mike.
Thanks, Stuart. Now, Stuart's going to demonstrate a Polarion Live Doc embedded in Siemens Mendix. So we had some customers that were looking at this, and we realized for our XDLM solution, which is built on Polarion, we needed to be able to show a live doc in the Mendix environment, and that's what we've created. Mendix enables mobile, tablet, desktop-friendly UI. It's a fairly easy low-code workflow development, and its low total cost of ownership workflows can be developed in the Mendix environment. Stuart?
Okay, so if you're not familiar with Mendix, this is what it looks like. And as Mike said, it's a way of creating a website, the front end, the back end. It's like a full stack implementation, but you don't have to be an expert in it. So it allows you to do basic coding. It has a lot of widgets built in and things like that for creating an entire website. Gathering data, and then you lay it out in a design. It's drag and drop. You can insert how you want the data displayed. And as Mike said, we've done this for a live doc. So I've decided I want to try and recreate the live doc look in Polarion. But I've added, it's a little different. I've added in the status and work item type to each work item that I want displayed. And made it a little different. So let me come here. And one of the reasons we did this is in working with customers, they love Polarion and the capabilities. They want it a little more customized, or a simple, slimmed down, easy to use interface for other people within the company who may not be directly involved with the ALM process, to be able to see a limited amount of specific information. For example, a marketing person or salesperson might want to find out about product features or release dates, or a person in purchasing might want to know about specific parts needed for a product. And we actually had a customer that wanted an easy to use RMA system, wanted to use Polarion, but the people who interacted, some of them from different companies actually, needed an easy to use web-based interface. So the Mendix allows us and customers to create that very simplified look at for Polarion. And there's already an existing connector that utilizes Polarion's web-based APIs to communicate. And so we found a lot of use with that connector. But again, as far as a live doc goes, we wanted to enhance what the basic connector could do. So we created the capability of displaying the live doc. And you can see I'm going to log in to my Mendix implementation or web interface that I've created. And it's similar to logging into Polarion. And this is the interface. This isn't exactly as simple as you can make it, but this is kind of the basic, how the basic connector looks. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the Drive Pilot demo project that comes with Polarion. And we will take a look at the electromechanical design specification. And now I'm going to switch to Polarion here, so you can see the actual live doc in the Drive Pilot project in Polarion. This Polarion live doc has an introduction in it and some basic information. The Mendix doc, I just decided to put the title and created an author date in there, but then it pretty much looks the same. The number list, it goes through, and we can see the graphics. Has the same type of information. Now, one capability that we've built in is you see the work item ID listed here, and if you click on it, you are able to bring up the work item and actually edit it within Mendix and save it. So update it, and this will communicate with Polarion and update Polarion as well, and save the data in there, and we're able to see all the comments, custom fields, things like that, just like in Polarion. And one thing we're currently working on is actually being able to edit more right in the Mendex window here, so that you can edit text and save that and things like that. So that's one capability we're going to be adding in. But this this is a great way to add on an extra web-based interface into Polarion and slim it down and kind of change the appearance and capabilities of it for other people within the company who might have specific needs.
Thanks, Stuart. And finally, we're going to be showing two other demos. One is an integration into ARM's fast models that we developed. We worked with the ARM Development Studio environment, which contains the fast models. And we worked with ARM as they don't really have any open APIs. We're a partner there, and they were very interested in what we're doing as they're trying to shift customers left. And they wanted the ability to trace what any work that was done in a model-based environment. This is great for the DevOps workflow that people are migrating towards. It enables a shift left, secure, trace, and test. And this will be an ARM fast model Polarion integration demo that Stuart provides. And then the second part of the demonstration is we've also integrated with Polarion in the Microsoft.NET framework, and that enables full test integration. So that, in effect, that extends Polarion now into the system level tests, if that's something you want, through these test frameworks. So we can do other test frameworks besides Microsoft.NET. This will enhance the customer DevOps workflow again. And what you're going to see today is test automation and a unit test demonstration.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So to frame this demo, I'm again going to use the Drive pilot project, which we've seen, and it calls for an ARM. You can see it's calling for an ARM processor in the circuit board. And of what's of interest today, we're going to focus on is the native user console. This is in the software requirement specification. So there is a requirement. There's going to be a console in the car. By the way, the Drive Pilot's an autonomous drive system, very trendy these days. Not the one in Tesla, though. And there's going to be on the console 8 LEDs. So around the car, there's 8 sensors, object detection, for parking or whatever. And each inside the car on the console, there'll be 8 LEDs, and each one will flash depending upon when it senses an object. When the sensor actually senses an object, it will flash and flashes in speed in relation to the proximity that the object is distance from the sensor. So this is the requirement. And then there's actually a task here this is a look at the requirement, and we can see it's linked to a task. And this task is to implement the software interface for the native console, and it goes into a description of what needs to be done and how it operates. And then this is linked to a test case that will actually test. This one is just the basic activation test. Here are the test steps. So basically, it's going to stimulate the first sensor, and the first LED should light. And so it's just a basic sensor test. To put an object in the sensor, does it light? Yes. Move this out of the way here so we can see. Now, back to this task to implement this software that's needed for this. I've used the ARM developer studio environment. It's a Eclipse-based development environment for writing code. So here I have my drive pilot control module for the sensor control. I'm utilizing a real-time operating system from ARM called RTX to implement this. Now, I am using, as Mike mentioned, there's something called a fast model, which is like a simulator, except it is functionally equivalent to the hardware. What does that mean, functionally equivalent? It means that it actually has the registers, all the capabilities of the actual chip that you're using. In this context, I'm using an ARM Cortex A9, and there's actually virtual GPIO pins in this fast model and things like that. So I have the, and let me go ahead and, where am I? Launch this fast model so you can see a piece of it. And this is actually part of the fast model. I have these switches or relays. So the sensor is tied to a specific, each sensor is tied to a specific GPIO pin on the processor. When that sensor senses something, it switches this relay, which then will switch on one of these LEDs here. And there's 8 LEDs, 8 relays, and as you recall, eight sensors. So I'm going to be utilizing this fast model to run my code and to execute the test case specifically from Polarion. Now, in order to do that, as Mike said, I've created an application using the .NET framework and the existing web services interface into Polarion in order to communicate, establish a means of communication between this fast model that's running and Polarion. So you can do a lot of different things with this application, but I have an automated test wizard, which will go into Polarion. First, it's telling me go ahead and to start the fast model. So I come here and I start that up. And now I push enter, and it's going to go to Polarion, and it's pulling down the test case. It's part of a test run, but there's only one test case. And it's going to go through, and as you can see, it's tripping each GPIO pin, the relay triggers, and the LED lights up. So it's going sequentially through each test step. So it's step number 4 right now. Now step 5, it's telling you the sensor distance, and it's stimulating and then capturing the return value to make sure, you know, what's the switch and the LED match up. So, and this runs exactly like it would on the actual hardware. So it's completed that run, and we will go back to our test case here. And let me refresh this and re-log in. And now we go down here and we can look at the test records, and we see there's been a test record entered. And we can go in, and now we see each test step and the result, and we see it's passed. Each one has passed. So all steps passed, and we're good to go. Now, one of the interesting things that we can do with this is actually inject a fault. So as this is running, and let me see how quick I can do this, I can actually trigger, see if I can get this to fault out. There it is. So I you know, by physically flipping the relay, I got it to fail. And if we go back here and refresh the test case, And we see here's a new test record and it's failed, and we can see what happened, and it got to the second step and actually failed. And we see that a defect has been generated automatically, and we look at that, and it's got a description of what actually happened. The test step 2 failed. The first sensor caused the LED 0 to light. So this is, an example of how Polarion can integrate into an entire continuous integration, a DevOps type of process.
Thanks, Stuart. So today we've shown you various tips and tricks that anybody could implement in Polarion. We've done it. You can do it as well. We showed the Slack chatbot. We went through the email round trip, creating a Polarion work item out of an email. We've shown you the live doc in Siemens Mendix environment, and we are enhancing that to include full edit in the live doc at any point. We also showed you ARM fast model, DevOps integration, and software and system test automation. So these products are all available today, and we can customize them to meet your needs if you have any interest in what we're doing, or we wish you the best of luck if you try and go out and create them on your own. And with
Thank you, Mike. We have a few questions for you. Regarding the email WI creation, does the person sending the email to create work item require to have Polarion license?
They would need to have a Polarion account.
Account meaning a license?
Yes.
Yes, okay. The other question we had was, my Polarion is running under managed services. How can I create an application for my system? That one, I think Brandon and I will have to investigate a little more, because I do know under managed services there are certain limitations and constraints, but however, we have several customers that do this. We just have to get you the proper method and how to approach that. That question was from Buster, I believe. Brandon, do you see any more questions?
Looks like another one just came in. On the email round trip, I guess it can be set up to also update a work item workflow state. Is that correct? Like an approval?
That's correct. It's very customizable as to what you want to do. Again, we have templates, and the application can pull whatever type of data. We've done various applications for report generation or approvals or things along those lines.
Right. You could create pretty much any form you want to send out in an email, and all the information that's put into it basically will be parsed out and put into the proper places in Polarion.
Excellent. Brandon, do you see any more questions?
I do not. I think that's all I see.
Perfect. Well, Stuart and Mike, thank you very much for the presentation today. Again, we'll post this on YouTube, and Brandon can send you direct copies on HighSpot if you request. If you have any questions at all, just contact us or Mike, who's showing his email address at Electrosource. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.